Oklahoma's own News on 6 starts now.
It really shook us. It really shook us all to know, to hear the search.
First tonight, the families of 4 men missing are devastated to find out not only were those men murdered, but their bodies dismembered. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Lori Fulbright.
And I'm Jonathan Cooper. News on 6's Ashland Brothers has more on how the families are doing tonight, as well as an update on the search for the person of interest in the case.
The families have been hoping for the best, and now they're filled with grief and shock.
There's going to be that void. There's going to be that hole. There's just that memory. That's all we got now is the memories of them. And it hurts.
Police now want to talk to the person of interest in this case, Joe Kennedy, who owns a salvage yard next to where investigators found blood. Police say they questioned Joe Kennedy once and he denied knowing the 4 men, but now they want to talk to him again. But no one has seen him for 3 days, and those who reported him missing say he could be suicidal. Officers did find his blue PT Cruiser this afternoon abandoned behind a business in Morris.
Mr. Kennedy is a person of interest that we would like to talk to and currently not a suspect.
Police say the 4 missing men, Mark Chastain and his brother Billy, Mike Sparks and Alex Stevens, all had gunshot wounds and their bodies were dismembered before being dumped in the Deep Fork River.
It would take a considerable amount of time to put the bodies in the condition that they were and then dump them in the rivers.
Records show Kennedy is currently serving a 10-year deferred sentence for a previous shooting at a salvage yard back in 2012. That time, 6 men broke into his business, A&A Salvage, and he shot them, hitting one who survived. All 6 were charged with burglary. Police say they are still piecing together exactly what the men had planned and what led to their deaths.
We believe the men planned to commit some type of criminal act when they left the residence on West 6th Street. That belief is based on information supplied by a witness who reports they were invited to go with the men to, quote unquote, hit a lick big enough for all of them.
Chief Joe Prentice says their search didn't turn up anything at Kennedy's salvage yard, but they did find blood at an adjoining property.
I've worked over 80 murders in my career, but this case involves the highest number of victims, and it's a very violent event.
Chief Prentice says they're conducting interviews, getting more surveillance video, and waiting for phone records. Now, if you know anything about Kennedy, where he is, or any information that can help officers in this investigation, call police. In Okmulgee, Ashland Brothers, Oklahoma's own News on 6.
The Pittsburgh County Sheriff's Office has made an arrest in a homicide case of Holly Cantrell. They arrested 36-year-old Cody Ketchum today and booked him into jail on a $1 million bond. Investigators took the case before the state's multi-county grand jury, and they issued the indictment and the arrest warrant. Cantrell, you'll remember, was 40 when she went missing back in January of 2017 after she left the McAllister Hospital on her lunch break. A month later, her purse was found in a field, and a year after that, her remains were found a couple of miles from the purse near the Cardinal Point recreational area. It took 2 years for the DNA to come back and confirm it was Cantrell's remains. Sheriff Chris Morris says they got evidence from Ketchum's phone that led to the indictment. Broken Arrow police are investigating after they say a teenager was shot in a hotel parking lot this afternoon near 71st and Garnett. Police say nearby McAuliffe Elementary and the Union 8th Grade Center were on lockdown for about 30 minutes as a precaution. They say the victim was staying at that hotel. They have not yet told us his condition.
Tulsa police arrested a man accused of stealing cigarettes from 3 Quick Trips in 4 hours. They say it happened Sunday between 2 and 6 in the morning. They say Marcus Johnson stole 18 boxes the first time and more during the next 2 thefts. They got a 4th call about Johnson being at another QT, but they say that he did not steal anything from there. They say Johnson ran from police into an apartment complex, but they took him into custody. The last 4 months in Tulsa County have been the driest during that stretch of time in a century. County commissioners say the area has only had 37% of its average rainfall in the past 120 days. Because of this, the burn ban has been extended another 7 days. Wagner, Pittsburgh, and LaFleur counties also extended their burn bans today, and there's now a burn ban in Cherokee County.
And that is a sure sign that it is going to be a bit of a problem through the rest of the week because there's no water. But boy, do we have the cold air. Freeze warnings in effect across the entire viewing area. I mean, Lincoln County and then extending down to around Hughes County. You guys have basically the same story. I mean, it's going to be down near freezing. That again, for tonight to the morning hours, hopefully you've covered up some of the tender vegetation. Today's high temperatures, you could tell something was up because it was cool all day or chilly. Upper 50s, low 60s. We had a north wind of about 10, occasionally 20 miles per hour. And we're looking at temperatures that have dropped off quite a bit tonight already. We're getting close to some 30-degree readings. We're down to 42 now in Pryor, 43 in Claremore, still hanging on to 50 on the south side of town, where it might be with a light north wind helping us out a little bit and keeping us from totally going down much below 32 or 31. But on the north and east sides, you guys will be in the 20s, so a pretty hard freeze for tonight across the area. What are we going to talk about? Well, it's kind of an early freeze compared to where we've been, and it's a quick big freeze because it's so cold. Also, it's getting bone dry with a fire risk this week. After hoping for rain, we're going to have to wait a while, but we do have Oktoberfest with a big warm-up. Details your forecast coming up.
The Oklahoma Highway Safety Office says the number of people dying in car crashes in Oklahoma has gone up now 3 years in a row. 762 people died in crashes last year. That's up 16% from 2020. More than 400 of those were drug or alcohol related. Pedestrian and motorcycle fatalities both increased about 20%.
Governor Kevin Stitt visited Rogers State University today for a ceremonial signing of 2 bills supporting higher education through the National Guard.
News on 6's Grant Stevens has a look at what Stitt says motivated these bills and how they're being received by students.
The stroke of a pen acknowledges the hundreds of students working on a degree while also training as soldiers and airmen. Governor Kevin Stitt believes Senate Bills 1416 and 1418 have helped build momentum in National Guard recruiting.
We signed a couple bills this year to encourage recruiting, encourage furthering their education for our military personnel. And now Oklahoma just hit #1 in the country the last couple months in recruiting.
1416 gives Oklahoma National Guard members in-state status for higher education, often lowering tuition. 1418 covers active guardsmen's fees and tuition costs.
Really gratifying to me to be able to work with the legislature and with the governor to come up with this solution that benefits our soldiers and airmen.
Stitt and Adjutant General for Oklahoma, Thomas Mancino, hope to remind any would-be recruits of these benefits of service.
Today's signing was ceremonial, which means both these bills are already in effect. And that means the students here have already started reaping the benefits.
Take David DeFranc Ponce, for example.
Now I don't need to pay anything. In fact, I'm reaping some benefits, which is fantastic. As a college student, finance is really important to us.
Scott Tarrant and his brother Tanner say the bills removed a big burden and kept them focused.
Now that they're paying fees, it really allows me to focus on my schooling as well as preparing me to go to officer candidate school.
Pao Song says it does even more than that. He says he's an immigrant wanting to avoid putting school debt on his family. For him, it's a better life.
There's a lot of people in my situation. They're not sure what to do with their life, and I feel like the military is a great example. It'll teach you leadership.
Grant Stevens, Oklahoma's own, News on 6.
The candidates running for governor will debate later this week. News on 6's Storm Jones will moderate the debate between Republican Governor Kevin Stitt and Democratic State Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister this Wednesday at 5:30. You can watch it on our website and on the News on 6 app. The Tulsa County District Attorney's Office is getting more than $1.5 million to help get people mental health help. The federal grant will help get suspects who have mental health and addiction issues the help they need both while they're in jail and after they're released. The DA's office hopes the funds will help reduce the number of drug use and overdose cases in Tulsa County.
We are going to have a pretty chilly morning tomorrow.
Travis has more on when the first freeze will arrive across the OCH Casino Skycam network.
And we're going to tell you about some of the changes being made to the Outsiders House in Tulsa.
But first, how you can give input to Tulsa's final draft of the Kirkpatrick Heights Master Plan.
I'm Dave Davis. Tomorrow on 6 in the morning, how Muskogee Public Schools is getting students interested in manufacturing careers. Plus, on News on 6 at 9 a.m., Dr. Scott Cyrus will join us to talk about the best practices to get your kiddos to sleep through the night safely. And the musical Frozen is stopping in Tulsa this week. Leanne will share her interview with one of the show's stars. Join us tomorrow starting at 4:30 on 6 in the morning.